The ant is one of the smallest creatures on this our earth, yet it remains one of the most mysterious creatures ever devised by God our Holy Father. I'm David McGahan, and tonight on David McGahan's World, we take a very probing look at a very probing documentary on this most unique, yet individual thing. Though we knew, the ant can carry up to 10,000 times its own weight. More if it were larger. If an ant, for example, with this elephant, or this one, it could carry the Eiffel Tower on its back. Or 2 Eiffel Towers if they teamed up, which would not be all that unusual given that elephants are very social insects. Alternatively, the elephants could carry 1 Eiffel Tower the size of the Empire State Building. It's largely a question of what's practical in terms of harness design. Another option would be to have the Eiffel Towers retain the weight of the Empire State Building, but adopt the shape of something easier to carry, like a briefcase. Or perhaps it could mutate into a 3rd elephant, which could simply walk by itself. By definition, carrying 10,000 times less than its potential, and leaving the other 2 elephants free to carry other buildings. And so we bid farewell to these plucky little fellows who have truly earned the name ant, as opposed to these creatures here, which I think are some sort of goat. Yes, the ant. Certainly not an elephant. I've been David McGahan. Good night. Natural disasters, just who was responsible? Volcanoes, tidal waves, cyclones, earthquakes and avalanches. Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, except with an extra one, they cause havoc and destruction of property wherever they canter. Tonight we look at the very upsetting world of footage, which can occur when natural disasters are happening and there's a camera about and it's pointed at them and it's turned on. So join with me, won't you now, for the upsetting world of disaster footage. These palls of smoke are big, as are these, and these. Look how small that boat is by comparison. Unlike smoke, flood damage is caused by water. Water like this. Millions of dollars of property, and this dog, lost in the veritable whirlpool of water which spreads like wildfire, causing heartbreaking muddiness to these negroid gentlemen and these dead birds here. Yes, sirree, in the magical world of natural disaster, no one is to blame and nothing is certain, except for these sort of goaty creatures. Makes you hum, doesn't it? Until next week then, and then again too, I imagine. This is David McGahan saying goodbye, and then hello again too. Good night. Hello, and welcome to David McGahan's World. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, David McGahan. Zebras are curious creatures, aren't they? That rhetorical question has been asked of nobody in particular since the very dawn of time, and the answer has always been the same: unnecessary. Today on David McGahan's World, we look at nature's own stripy horse in zebra fun. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Stands up when he goes to bed, world's most stripy quadruped. Zebra, oh zebra, zebra, zebra.
Nature's zebra seems to be forever wearing pyjamas, but his dual colour is there for a purpose: camouflage.
Zebra, oh zebra, zebra, zebra.
If you look very carefully, you can just make out the outline of some zebras feeding off this dead tree. Their cunning making them virtually invisible from traditional predators like the hippo and the always lanky giraffe.
Zebra, oh zebra, zebra, zebra.
Yes, camouflage is the zebra's best friend, as it is for this bus, who uses the zebra's markings to pass unnoticed through the herd, as opposed to these goats, whose horns give them away.
Ends with A and starts with Z, anti-alphabetically. Zebra, oh zebra, zebra, zebra.
Zebra. Ah, the zebra, as mysterious and beautiful as it is black and white. I'm David McGahan. Until next week, then, Good night. Good evening, General Douglas MacArthur. You know, he once said that war is Hades, and how right he was. Bullets, tanks, explosions, and gunfire all come together to create an unpleasant cocktail that we call warfare. And sadly, hardly a day goes by when some country somewhere in the world is forced to drink it. Hello, I'm David McGahan. Tonight on David McGahan's World, we look at film and listen to narration on just that topic. And here it is. World War I was the first and indeed only world war of that name, and certainly the most deserving among it of that title. Its sequel, World War II, did for Europe what World War I had done, except more recently. It was started by this man, Adolf Hitler, whose resemblance to Charlie Chaplin ended with the toothbrush moustache. Hitler was far less funny, and Chaplin less inclined to use death camps as part of a plan to dominate Europe. Hitler's campaign of war ended in 1943, with millions dead or ill, many buildings in need of replastering, and a sad lack of proper socks. Were it not for the efforts of Winston Churchill, the goose-stepping Nazi hordes might still be marching about today, as terrifying and real as these creatures here, which I understand are some sort of goat. War. Would it exist if every soldier picked up a flower instead of a gun? Perhaps. But it certainly wouldn't be as loud, and I imagine there'd be some sort of military inquiry. That's not happening. I've been David McGahan. Good evening to you all, my very good friends. Good evening. Good evening. When God invented the fish, he must have been particularly inspired. God, I mean, not the fish. For the fish and its close marine relatives, the eel and the seahorse, are among several of the things I've just mentioned then, which live within the watery depths and indeed widths of the ocean. Hello, I'm David McGahan, and this is David McGahan's World. Well, obviously not this Chinese man specifically. It was meant to be a more, expansive or encompassing gesture. In any event, let us then look at video footage of God's own fish in Fish.
Fish got gills and swim around. I find it unusual they don't drown. Fish, 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 yeah.
Fish are aquatic.
Just like humans but got no legs, and they're a lot smaller and they lay eggs. Fish, 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 yeah.
This fish is blue, but this eel isn't.
Fish ain't got no human features, nor do these goaty creatures. Fish, 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 yeah.
What was that?
Fish, 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 yeah.
Ah, yes, I thought you said that. Fish, 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 yeah. Yes, the fish. Certainly the wettest of animals, with perhaps the exception of coral, which is more a plant anyway. So, remember, when next you eat a fish, why not spend a thought and spare one too for the delicate food chain that you've not only interrupted, but been a part of. This is David McGahan saying good evening to you all, my very dear friends. Mice, or in this little fellow's case, nuts. Specifically the head area of it. They're cute and they're cuddly on their own, but Get them in plague proportions numbering in their tens of millions, and they're less so. You have to cram them into their little wheel for a start, and also 1 million mice in your pocket can be pretty heavy. And to prove my point, let's do some sums. 1 million mice at 1 ounce is... it's a lot. I'm talking about thousands. But the mouse is a rodent of contrasts. Hello, I'm David McGahan. Let us look now at cinematographic images of the mysterious mouse. Mice are small. Mice. They're considered a delicacy in some of the less scrupulous restaurants around Melbourne. In India, they're worshipped as gods. Somewhere in between, I believe, lies the truth. And it's ironic, I think, that the truth should one day be found lying somewhere. And find it we will one day. And when we do, you can be sure that David McGahan's World will be there to bring these murdering bastards to justice. Ta-ta for now. Good evening, I'm David McGahan. And how are you today? Well, I trust. Tonight on David McGahan's World, or if you're watching a video recording of this program tomorrow, yesterday on David McGahan's World, we look at, or looked at, the wondrous world of the bison. Or bisoned. The uninformed call them buffalo. The even less informed call them turtle. But to those of us who know and love them, they're called bisons, and bisons they shall remain.
Prowler! Get out of here, monkey boy!
Yes, thank you. Come with me now, won't you?
I'm not coming with you, you lesbian! Get out!
Come with me now. Come with me. Follow me now as we look at some documentary footage about the amazing world of the bisons, entitled Bisons Are Fun.
I like you, and I don't like this one!
They lead an interesting life, these bisons, walking around, covered in fur, being large.
Not a cow or a chicken or even an egg or a bat or an artichoke or piece of bread. It's a bison, it's a bison, it's a bison, it's a bison.
In matters bisonic, these creatures are well versed, and little wonder given that they are them.
There's no such word as bisonic.
Yes, thank you, old woman.
Dressed up in his shaving coat, better than a wombat or a goat. It's a bison, it's a bison.
Yes, bisons often protest on environmental issues, as can be seen here.
It's dead.
One day on his neighbor's lawn, did a push-up and his ligament torn. It's a bison.
It's a bison.
It's a bison.
It's a
Bison.
It's a bison.
It's a bison.
Well, there you have it. An exhaustive look at the strange creature that we call bison. Or un bison. Or ein bison. Or dong tong tong tong. Till next time then, this is David McGahan, reminding you that the world really is a David McGahan's world. Sort of. Thanks very much, Cloris. Hi. The big band era of the 1940s. There was never a decade quite like it, except obviously in previous centuries. But the music was different then. Oh, yeah. The music made famous in the 1940s by Duke Basie and Count Ellington was literally unheard of in the 18 and 1740s. It was a time of great change. The war was on. Nelson would defeat Napoleon at Waterloo, and in France they were wearing their heads a lot shorter. Join with me now, won't you, as we look at the wonderful world of cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery is performed by special doctors who wear blue hats and green clothes. Though they look funny, they aren't. Their job is serious. Doctors study for years to wear these coveted hats and clothings. Only then can they look at X-rays like these and down microscopes like these, so that they may cure people who look like this. Yes, indeed. Cosmetic surgery. It certainly gets your feet a-tapping and your fingers a-clicking. I hope you've enjoyed this walk down Surgery Lane. And join me next week, won't you, for another David McGahan's World. I'd certainly appreciate that a lot. Good night. Lizards. There are almost 5 million different species throughout the known world. Perhaps more in the unknown world. Although the very unknowability of that world makes it very difficult to be safe. Hello, I'm David McGahan. Join me now on David McGahan's World as I, David McGahan, watch and narrate this documentary on lizards. I'm told it's quite good. Lizards are as many in number as they are in quantity. Large, but for their size, they have all the creature comforts of a creature. Tongue, head, body and legs. Not to mention arms. And with good reason. They don't have any. As not seen here. Reptilian in nature and in captivity, lizards come in many shapes and forms. There's the blue tongue, so called because of its frill neck. And the frill neck, which is often mistaken for the blue tongue because of its legs. There is also the monitor, so named because it's possible to look at it. The drop tail because it's green. Then, of course, there's the old goanna. But most striking of all is the unusual and talented chameleon, seen here standing in front of a couple of goats. Fascinating, truly fascinating. The incredible, scarcely human world of the lizard. Until then, good night. Whale song. Pretty difficult to dance to, but essential for the mating of these amazingly big creatures that scientists call whales. Hello, I'm David McGahan. But the world's whale population is steadily declining. Efforts are being made to preserve them, but museums can only do so much. Join with me now, my friends, as we look at the tragic story of the humpback whale. The whale is a very fat fish indeed, yet it has the grace of a bird when it comes to swimming underwater. A massively large bird with no feathers or beak who can breathe through a hole in its head. Yet the whale is a bird in crisis. Though it has survived for millions of years, few of these majestic beasts manage to survive being harpooned